Let's read some Glitch in the Matrix stories. Hi, Into Matrix. Hi! I thought about writing this for a while, but I didn't know if it was a good enough story for everyone to enjoy. Of course it is! They're all good. Hopefully after speaking this story out loud, it will allow my mind to let go of it. It's been over 40 years and I still think of it quite often. When I was a little girl, 7 years old, my then stepdad liked to go metal detecting on the weekends. He would drag my brother, who was a year younger, and me with him. We would spend hours trying to play and find something to do while he was out there with his metal detector. I mostly remember being hot, thirsty, and bored, lol. This particular day, he took us to a very, very old graveyard. Okay, when I think of metal detecting, I immediately just think of beaches. I never thought about going to a graveyard. In retrospect, metal detecting in a graveyard seems very disrespectful. Yes! And as a child, I had no clue about such things. Of course not. I remember my brother and I running around playing hide and seek behind the headstones until the heat and exhaustion overtook us. On the edge of the graveyard, there was an apple tree. It was full of juicy, delicious apples, and my brother and I helped ourselves to these apples. There were hundreds of them. After eating several apples, we were no longer hungry, and it even helped to quench our thirst, also a plus. We then found a concrete bench under a tree that was big enough we could both lay on it in the shade. My little brother quickly fell asleep on the cool stone. As a small child, I had an irrational fear of being abandoned when we went places, and I couldn't let myself fall asleep because then I couldn't glance over at my stepdad every 30 seconds and make sure that he was still there. I could see him clearly. He had walked a little further away in the graveyard, and I looked back toward our truck. That's when I first saw her. She was wearing a long black dress, maybe from the 1800s. Over her head and face, she wore a black veil. She was carrying a basket, and in the basket, I thought what I saw were apples from the tree. For some reason, the first thing that popped into my head was the witch from Snow White. Snow is my middle name, and because of that, Snow White was my favorite movie. Anyway, she was walking between the headstones very slowly. It scared me, but she was now between us and our stepdad. She hadn't seen us yet, and I was trying to be as quiet as possible. That's when, in the blink of an eye, she was suddenly only about 10 feet away. I now saw that she had a basket full of dead roses, and she suddenly turned toward us. I knew she could see us. I could feel that she was looking at us, but I couldn't see her face through the veil. It looked like there were layers and layers of fabric over her face. I was so scared I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. My brother laid next to me, sound asleep. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't yell for help. I couldn't do anything. She took a few steps toward us, and I could suddenly feel sadness and loss coming from her, a feeling I knew all too well from the passing of my mommy in the fall. I could feel it encompassing me, and it felt like I would never be happy again. My fear was gone, and all I could do was sit there with tears streaming down my face. She took a couple more steps towards us, and suddenly I heard my stepdad call for us. I quickly glanced toward his voice, and when I looked back, she was gone. I felt like I could move and breathe again, but the tears wouldn't stop. I felt so sad. My stepdad assumed being in the graveyard must have been too much for me, and he picked up my brother and walked us back to the truck. I didn't say a word to anyone. I didn't really understand what had happened. Fast forward to when I was 25 years old. My grandfather, my mommy's dad, passed away. I loved him so much, and it hit me hard. At this point, I was the mother of 2 little girls, and I was being as strong as I could for them. I got us all ready, and my husband, the girls and I went to his viewing/funeral at the funeral home. He was being cremated, so there was not going to be a graveside service. I got completely overwhelmed after walking in and seeing him laying up there and excused myself to go outside and get some fresh air. I started feeling a little better outside when suddenly I had that crippling feeling. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. All I could do was stand there and cry. That's when I saw her, only for a second, as she walked around the corner of the funeral home. I saw her profile, the veil, the dress, even the basket. After she turned the corner and was out of sight, I could breathe and move again. I was just left standing there, feeling like sadness, loss, and despair was all that was left in the world, crying uncontrollably. This time, it took far longer for me to get over. This time, it took days, maybe weeks, I'm not sure. I don't know who she was or why she was there. I had lost other loved ones since the last time I saw her and had not seen her then. Why was she there? Who was she? I'll never know. But every now and then, she creeps back into my thoughts. I honestly don't want to see her again. She is creepy as fuck. What the fuck was that? I have never heard of that before. I feel like I need to look this up. I feel like that has to be something. Obviously something. But I mean, I feel like it has to be something in particular. I was just trying to look this up and I can't find anything. There has to be something. You guys need to let me know what you think in the comments because I don't know who that was. And why did she only come around those 2 times? Is a good question. It's not like you're seeing her every single time, and I wonder why that is. I'm literally honestly speechless with this one. I don't know. She's some sort of like manifestation of grief for some reason. I literally don't know. Please tell me what you guys think in the comments. I need your help on this one. This was so interesting. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm Auntie Matrix, and if you like stories like these, make sure that you follow me, and you can send me yours too here to this email address. We believe you.